Hey, I have an announcement. We are fast approaching episode 300 of the Career Changemaker podcast. And to mark this milestone, we are going to be hosting a live podcast recording in London. And I am inviting you to come and join us. You're going to see the behind the scenes of me interviewing amazing guests. And we're going to be opening up the floor for Q&A and some spot coaching and then some networking. So I would love to get to meet you in person, have you meet other people inside of this amazing career change maker community and just celebrate with you. Whether you've listened to one episode or the 300 episodes or anywhere in between, I am so grateful that you are part of this community and I'd love to celebrate with you live. So it's taking place at the end of November. Details can be found in the show notes. So click the link. Get your ticket. There are limited spots, literally only 30 spots available. And I would love to see you take up one of those seats. So go and grab your ticket. Welcome to the Career Changemaker podcast, where we focus on owning your career journey and making impact through the work that you do. Whether you're looking to pivot, transition into leadership, or reimagine your career completely, this podcast is for you. We'll unpack career development strategies, leadership insights, and the mindset shifts needed to thrive in your career. Being a career changemaker means taking control and shaping your professional path with intention. I'm your host, lawyer turned career and leadership development specialist, Janine Esbrand. So if you're ready for candid conversations that are going to help you grow, keep listening. Hello, and welcome to the show. This is a season where many people are having some high stakes conversations, whether that is interview conversations or appraisal conversations or making pitches for particular opportunities. People are having important conversations. And what I know from the work that I've been doing over the years with lots of different professionals is that there is one question that is often overlooked when people are preparing for these important, potentially career advancing opportunities. So if you have an important convo coming up, I want you to lean into this episode because I want to make sure that you are asking yourself the right questions so that you can prepare yourself to make the type of impact you want to make on the person that you are speaking to. The reason I wanted to talk about this on the podcast is I was having a session with a coaching client recently, and this came up in the conversation. I like to make sure that when opportunities come, we are fully prepared for them and that we are not only prepared in the sense of understanding what the opportunity is about, but we are prepared to fully articulate why and how we are a good fit for those opportunities. So as she told me that she was having a conversation with the recruiter later in the week, I asked her how she was feeling about prep. And she said, yeah, it's fine. I feel good about the process. It's a role that I could definitely do. It really aligns with my experience. So I'm good. And I said, okay, well, before we move on to talk about some other things that are on the agenda for today, I want to ask you one question. And that question was this: what do you want them to know about you and your experience by the end of the conversation? And she paused and she said, okay, maybe I'm not as prepared as I thought I was. I think that question is so powerful in making sure that you are preparing in the right way. The reason you want to ask yourself that question when you're preparing is it does three things. Number one, it forces you to put yourself in the shoes of the interviewer and really consider what they are looking for this particular role. Number two, and I think most importantly, it helps you to consider your relevant experience and the value that you can bring to the table. And then number three, it puts you in a headspace of demonstrating your value rather than just trying to impress. So instead of going into it just thinking about what they might want to hear and how you can say things in a good way, you can instead focus on what is true and really articulating your value from a place of confidence. When you take a step back and you think about your career history and you think about the various different roles you've had, the projects you've worked on, the achievements you've had that are relevant to what it is that they're looking for, that can showcase the results that you've been able to get that are similar to the results that they want, you're able to go into that conversation with so much more confidence than if you were just trying to think about what they might want to know, what they might want to hear. So we're moving from a place of I'm trying to say what I need to say in order to impress this person to I'm going to share what I need to share so that they know what I already know, which is I'm a good fit for this particular opportunity. There's a book that I read a few years ago called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it talks about the importance of focusing in on taking the right action that's actually going to move the needle, particularly when you're working towards a goal and you feel like you need to be doing all these different things in order to move forward. He highlights the importance of zoning in and focusing your time and your energy on the most important things. And he says, there's one question that you can reflect on that will help you to narrow your focus. And that question is, what is one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? What is one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or necessary? And if you take that concept and you couple it with what I just talked about in terms of focusing on what you want them to know, it will help you to have such a streamlined preparation process. Focusing on that question as the one thing or the main thing that you need to do when you're going into any conversation is going to help you to not only have a focus of the conversation, but also frame the conversation well. Going into it and saying, okay, I just need to really think about what do I need them to know by the end of this conversation. That encompasses a lot. That encompasses you being clear on what the role is. It encompasses you being clear on why you're a good fit. It encompasses you being really confident that you are able to sell your expertise to the person. So we can just be focused, and it doesn't have to take long to prep in this way, but it's going to be way more impactful than how many people approach the preparation for a conversation, where they're kind of like, okay, I need to think about competency questions. I need to tell them a time when I did this or a time when I did that. And that may be part of the conversation if you're having an interview. But when you're doing that, when you are coming up with a time that you did this or your time that you did that, if you approach it from a place of, okay, I just need to look at the job spec and come up with different examples that I can share, those examples may not be the best examples. They may not be the examples that are really going to showcase your experience. So if you start with, what do I need them to know? That can encompass what some of the results that I've gotten, what are some of the really big things that I'm proud of. And those are the things that you then make sure that you're weaving into your answers. And it allows you to kind of take more of a politician's approach to answering questions, because sometimes we can just answer the question as it's been asked, right? They've asked me this, so I'm answering the question. But if you've done the thinking ahead of time about what you want them to know about you, you can make sure that you are weaving into your answers the nuggets of information that are going to stick with them, that are going to be memorable to them, that's going to make you stand out as a candidate. So you're proactively going into the conversation, knowing your own agenda rather than being reactive to whatever comes up in the conversation. It really works in an interview setting. In an interview setting, it really is about how am I setting myself for this opportunity? And now let's talk about annual review or an appraisal setting. You are going into it asking yourself what you want your supervisor to know about you, because maybe you want a raise, maybe you want to get promoted, maybe you just want them to acknowledge the good work that you've been doing. But it's important to be thinking about your audience. So as a supervisor, you might assume that they know everything that's been going on for you, that you have been crushing it, that there have been many wins, that there have been many client results, but they may not know. They may not know. So in this scenario, you don't want to be assuming that the things that you have done, they are fully aware of. So when you're asking yourself, what do I want them to know? Don't filter it. Don't say to yourself, oh, okay, I want them to know that, but they probably know that already, right? Just state it, share it. If they know it already, great, you're saying it again. So you want to make sure that when you're going into those review appraisal meetings, you are very clear on what you have done, what results you have gotten, how to make that as tangible as possible. And also be clear on what you want next. They may be asking you, what are your professional development goals? Know what those are in the short, medium, and long term so that you're able to share it. So I hope you can see that that question can apply in different circumstances. And you just want to make sure that whenever you are preparing for a conversation, big or small, that you are starting with the end in mind and you are clear on, why am I even having this conversation? What is the point of it? What am I trying to get out of this conversation? Whether that is a tangible answer from someone, or whether that is I'm trying to make an impression, whether that is I'm trying to inform. You knowing what you want to get out of the conversation means that you can shape it so much better And it can avoid that situation where you are in a conversation and you find yourself just talking and rambling and you're like, oh, I'm not being succinct. I'm not being focused. I think I'm losing this person. Doing the preparation beforehand and you having the clarity around what you want to get out of the conversation means that it's so much easier to steer the conversation. It's so much easier to make sure that you are covering the points. And if you need to write things down, have your notes, and just to make sure that you are covering all the bases. And people respect that, right? Like if you go into a meeting and it's like, okay, here's what I want to cover, it's so much more efficient for everybody and everyone knows where the conversation is going. My encouragement to you is to prepare for your next conversation, whether it is a big conversation, an informal conversation. I want you to go into your preparation asking yourself what you want the other person to know about you, your experience, your expertise, your values, your knowledge before the end of the conversation. And then I want you to prepare accordingly. That's all I have for you today. If you found this useful, then do share this episode with someone else. Sharing is caring. Also, please, please, please leave us a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. Those reviews help more people to find the show. And so I would be very, very grateful if you would take the time to share your thoughts on the episode. That's all from me today. I will be back very, very soon with another episode. Until next time, keep moving towards your career goals.